Welcome, my name is Tishar, this is StarMade, and this will be the last episode with looking at all the entries for the build initiative for the Solar Razer. So we've got the last couple of entries all the way here at the front. This time it's 6 ships instead of the usual 5 I have per episode. So yeah, I just wanted to get all the last entries going in one episode. Otherwise, I would have to split it up with 3 ships per episode, and I think we can do it in one. And there's very interesting ships in this last lineup, so let's not waste any time and start with the first one. The first one is the Ursiat Razer, if I pronounce it correctly. I don't know, very difficult name. And this is a very original ship. It's very organic, in my opinion. Lots of curved shapes going on, and lots of intricate detail added to the hull. And I really like how the force fields are used as well. Very organic as well. Looks like a sort of a web between the wing parts. The only thing I did notice that there is one piece of force field missing on this side. It is available here on this side. So I'm not sure if that's a mistake or if it's just to get some asymmetry going, but I don't think it is. We've got a cockpit all the way at the front by the looks of it. You can see inside already. See what type of interior there is. And we've got our airlock on this side as well, so it's easy for us to find our way inside. And we've got, like I said, some intricate detailing going on, so a lot of organic shapes within the wings over here. And some detailing blocks like this one that you normally wouldn't see on hull tech range all that much, including over here with these detailings on the hull, the main hull. Lots of piping, and even used some plants live to add additional detail. Can basically use it as a mechanical bit as well. And this goes into the thruster array over here, basically protected by these wingy bits by the looks of it. And yeah, there are exposed thrusters, so this will have a nice flare when you are under thrust for this ship. So it's always nice to see. We've got some additional detailing for what I'm assuming is some sort of reactor part of the ship. And it's all very exposed and very accessible for all the details to look at. Quite like how that's done. Like I said, it's very organic, and that's very difficult, I think, with a game like StarMade, because there is a hard limit on what you can do with the blocks themselves. But yeah, this is a prime example of what you can do with the blocks available and then going organic. Let's check out what's inside of this ship. Here we are. Like I said, the airlock is easy to find. There's no button here by the looks of it, so it is a manual thing to get inside. I'm not seeing a gravity module here either, so that's something you might want to add. So we have easy access to the pilot seats over here. Some buttons to do something. Okay, it's basically disengaging the docking port. It's probably linked to the rails over here through the airlock. So that's always nice, we have that option. Very good view with this cockpit, even going all the way down over here. So we have both good visibility up and down. Then we have a teleporter on the side over here and some controls over here. This door leads to the core room. And the core room has the beds. Okay, bed 1 and bed 2. Very small, but yeah, it's probably just a place to sleep real quick. And then continue on with the race itself. So not a very big interior, but for what space there is, it's very nicely decorated. Quite like how the core was done as well, by the way. Let's see what type of systems this thing has. Let's see, reactor. Yeah, it's just the top speed by the looks of it. It's very nice. There is no additional logic buttons I can push, I think. Don't think there is, no. It's just these buttons over here to undock, basically. So yeah, very nicely done with this design. Quite like it, how the organics were implemented. And in combination with the force fields, it gives us a very alien creature-like vibe. The next ship in the line is one of my own. So yeah, I'm a bit biased, of course, if I'm going through this ship. I wanted to make an additional entry for Build Initiative with a ship that had a bit more interior space. So this was basically the premise for this ship design. And I made it purple, so that's why it's called Grape, and added some stripes to it to give it a bit of a racing feel. You've got this nice little cockpit here at the front. This is where you pilot the ship. Then it goes into the main body with some of the thrusters attached to the side. So this is a vector thruster orientated ship. And we've got this big glass dome here in the middle that allows you to look inside the main living area. And this goes back to this part over here. This is where you enter. So we've got a airlock at the back over here. And we've got an additional entrance to a docking area on the top over here, but we'll get back to that later. The bottom is slightly different. We've got a fuel intake over here. So this is where you basically fuel the ship. And you've got an elevator access over here for some cargo loading. So basically the stuff you need during your journey. And this over here, these rails are for the escape pods, but we'll show that in a second as well when we go to the interior of this ship. I'm going to start at the back of the ship with the airlock over here. We can enter from the bottom as well with the cargo elevator, but I'm just going to use the airlock like a normal version. So grab some gravity, and then you can press the button and cycle the airlock itself. Quite neat little trick. This glass over here, you probably have noticed if you use half blocks or other less, like the quarter and 3/4 blocks, that they will basically clip the bottom and top of the block that's transparent. I get around it by just docking the glass to the door itself. So it's basically 2 entities per door, so 4 entities for one door. It's a bit excessive, but for a small ship like this, it's quite nice to do. As we enter, we immediately get into the area where the medical bay is located. So for easy access, we've got the medical bed over here, and this is basically an interior I more or less did before. And this continues on to this hallway with some of the controls and information for your life support. And then on this side we have the captain bunk. So this is basically a room, very simple, with a double bed, access to a bathroom for the captain itself. And then this continues to this area over here, which has access to the crew bunks 1 and 2. These are mirrored, so the same, just a single bed and basically the same bathroom as the captain has. But there is individual bathrooms, so that's quite luxurious. And then here in the middle we have the living area. So we've got this table with some chairs and a couch over here with a big screen TV to look at some space operas, and a kitchen area over here with a button to turn on or off the lights. So very homely, I think. And if you continue to the front, then we have access to the main elevator over here. We're going to use that in a sec, and the teleporter. So that's also some nice additions. And then this area is the main control area for all the vector thrust engines that we've seen on the outside. And one of them is having a bit of trouble. It's only at 80%. And up front here is the cockpit itself. And we've got some warnings over here that engine 4 is low on pressure, and some navigation data of where we are, of course. of course, I wouldn't be me if I wouldn't add some additional logic buttons to do some things. So we've got the landing button, I'll show you in a sec, and the door lock. So if we press this one, the door locks and we can't open it anymore. And as we turn it off, then yeah, we can basically access this area again. One additional feature I have as well is basically this button. If we press it, then the chairs go back and then everything basically shuts down within the cockpit. As you can see here, the displays pull down and then the lights turn off. So, let's press it again. There we go. And now it's back into the piloting mode. Like I said, I made this to have a bit more interior, so that's why we have different levels. So if we take this elevator, we can go down. And this leads to an area over here with access to the cargo elevator in the cargo area and access to the emergency escape capsules. So you just jump in here and then press the remote button and say you're off. And this is the cargo elevator itself and some cargo space in the back over here. So if you press this button, basically raises the sides and then the cargo elevator goes down. And here we are at ground level. And press it again to get back up. There we go. So that's this level. And there's one additional level you can't access from this main elevator. We have to go back a bit to this area over here. There's an elevator, small one, on this side. You can press it and then go up. And this is a access level to our yeah, basically a garage or something like that. You can just press the button over here and then this opens up the top door over here and you can grab this space bike to do some additional racing or just use it as an escape module as well. So that's the way you can get 3 people off the ship safely if needed, but yeah, mainly for racing of course. So yeah, that's basically the 3 levels that it has. And there's one additional feature I can show you. But I'll go into the core for that for a second. Here we go. So here we are. Let's grab our interface. Got the landing button. So if I press this, basically rotates all the engines downwards for landing, and then it extends these landing struts as well, as you can see here. And if we press this, you can see if the elevator is down, this will line up with the landing struts as well. So that's all nicely calculated. We got the cargo lift, we can press that from the cockpit as well, then it will retract or extend depending on what it is. And we've got the docking bay that we can open from here as well. So that's the area at the back over here to access the space motorcycle. So that's all the functionality this ship has. So let's put it back into the flying mode. Rotate this back, and now it's all nice and tidy back to the main position. This is the A1 Servo. This is quite an interesting ship. I followed the development of this ship quite closer than some of the other ships I've got here, mainly because I know the author a bit more. And this is quite an interesting design because this is based on the racing ship from the Expand. At least in some areas, this wing width that sticks out at the back. It's also quite interesting that it got a lot of vector thrust options at the wingtips over here. So it's basically a ship that relies on vector thrust for its maneuverability. And it's got a lot of interesting details on the main hull as well. I quite like this antenna, rotating antenna bit. It's something I need to borrow, I think. It's going on here. We've got some blinking lights that are going on. And it's the bottom over here, I think, as well. Yeah, over here. There in the sides. Nicely shaped with the light yellow, by the way, over here. It's a good way to get some detailing at the front. This goes all the way to the back with some connections to a big nuclear reactor or something like that powers this single engine over here. And I believe there is some logic inside that activates when you reach certain speeds, I think. Also some detailing on the inside of the wing, so that's always nice to see. I didn't forget that, so that's very nicely done. And some different colored blinking lights up top here as well. Surprisingly enough, this ship also has a very good interior, so let's check that out. The entrance is over here, and this entrance has a couple of features as well. One of the main things about that is that this docking block is extended over here with some studs because it needs to be connected to the main entity, because there's some logic involved for moving parts. I'm not sure if I'm aware that it is needed for actually using it, but I'm not sure if it's actually a benefit for the overall ship design, because it is sticking out and basically disrupting the very nice lines you got going on this side of the ship. But yeah, it does work. You can press this button over here to gain entry. See how fast it goes. As you can see here, there's the door. I'm probably not fast enough. Enter. Then it closes. Then that's something you need to press yourself by the looks of it. Uh-oh, it's doing something. Ah, that's the cycling. Okay, it puts you in gravity as well, so that's nice. But I believe there was some other options to do something as well with extending this airlock, but perhaps that's the button over here somewhere. But we'll check that out from the cockpit or the core, I think. Shuttle launch controls. Let's not press that yet. So this is the logic. There's probably some other classes as well. And this is, let's see, escape hatch. So this leads to, yeah, this was leading to the escape shuttle. So this is a different entity docked with the main ship. We'll check that out last, I think. And then there's a door over here. So this leads to the living area. A nice little table and some storage and kitchen area by the looks of it. And this is quite nice. I already checked that out. You can open the windows like this, so it's actually window blinds. Quite like a detail like that added to the interior. And then we've got some areas over here for sleeping, and also with the option to look outside. It's always nice. Some personal storage and computers. And then over here, this is, yeah, the facilities. And then we've got some elevator over here that leads to a cargo area over here downstairs. So quite a nice bit of storage going on for all your supplies. There we go. And then we can go back here. And this leads to some mechanical parts and some of the information from the ship, and also the core access, so it's basically here in the middle. Then up here we have, I believe this was more logic, yeah, more logic. This side as well, yeah. And this is the atmospheric systems, nice, accessible as well. This leads to the cockpit, I believe. Yeah, it does. So this is the cockpit itself. Yeah, excuse the name, it's always with the numbers, but can't really do anything about that. Yeah, faction blocks, all kinds of access terminals for maneuvering the ship, so that's quite nice. Quite like the feel with the red light, so it's very red alert type of feel, but also appreciated for racing, I think. So, like I said, it's quite an extensive interior for a ship that isn't that big. But now I'm quite curious if there's an option for what I believe is the extension for radar running lights. So it's basically turning it on and off. Shuttle control. If I press it, then the shuttle. Yeah, the shuttle launches. So that's quite a nice little shuttle. And it fits really well within the main hull of the ship, so you can't really see that it is part of the main hull. So that's quite nicely done. So you can basically extend it and then bring it back, I think. Yeah, without having to launch it. So, like I said, you can barely notice that it is part of the main hull or not. If you wouldn't have seen the rails, then you probably wouldn't have known all that well. Hull shuttle docking color. Yeah, that's the one, I think. Let's see. Yeah, it extends all the way, and then this is basically the docking rail that you need to use to dock into a station or something like that. Then there's still the airlock over here, and this area to enter the ship itself. So yeah, I'm not sure if there's a button near the docking collar to activate it, or is it just something we can use from the core. Cycle out the door, so that we can open the outer door. Yeah, like that. Nice. Core clock. Okay, it's probably for the blinking lights and things like that. Nice. And okay, that's about it, I think. So quite a lot of logic crammed into the ship. And like I said, there's something going on with the engine as well. But then I probably have to fly it first. I believe there was a video uploaded for that as well. Quite a nice color, by the way. Purple. Yeah, it extends. It extends and close breaker. So that quite crashed the game. So don't do that. Let's move on to the next one. This was the LTI T2 Razer, as far as I remember. This is quite a nice little build. It's basically a actual race car in space. So no wheels, but basically wing bits and engines at the back to move it forward. And really special is these lights here. I quite like how that was done. It's very hard to get some intricate detail at that scale done, but this was pulled off very nicely. So we've got a big spoiler at the front, some heavy lights to see where you're going, cockpit, at least a front windshield, and then this leads to the wingy bits at the back over here with more spoilers, and the engines here at the back to move this thing forward. So it's quite a nice little build. It reminds me of a actual rally car of some sort. So that's probably the thing they were trying to go for. Doesn't have all that much interior. You can check it out. Let's press this button. Now, it's probably on a docked entity, so just a second. Here we are outside the ship, so let's press this button now. This moves the door to the side so you can enter. This is basically your car cockpit with a nice way to display the speed. And you've got your car access over here and some additional information about the ship, or space car I should say, itself. Let's jump in the core and let's show you a bit about the systems. Let's see, reactor. It's got all the speed systems, of course. And one thing I also noticed, it's got all the thrust set to the front and back movements of the ship. So moving these things side to side is very difficult. I noticed that when I spawned it in and tried to maneuver it to this position. Yeah, it's basically collided with the rest of the ships in the back there. Oops. But yeah, like I said, quite nicely done. It is an actual car in space, a rally car of some sort, but pulled off very well because it is a spaceship as well. This next entry is quite different. This is the Ramen Razer. So basically, this is a ramen restaurant that is entering a space race. I'm not sure why they did this, but it is quite special actually. I don't think anybody else would have thought of this. So it's got this very big billboard on top of the actual ship itself with the word ramen spelled in here, and lots of blinking lights. That's basically a staple of all those types of neon light billboards. So that's thought of quite nicely. And I quite like how the blocks were used here to create this grid to hold all the advertisements on it. Well, the actually ship itself, it's basically more or less a building with some additional supports to get things together. We've got this area over here with this force field. I'm not sure what you call it. Yeah, I can't really think of the English word for it, but basically the hanging cloth part of a stall like this, with some chairs by the looks of it for clients to sit. Then they can basically interact with the people in the middle and order their ramen. And it's basically the same on each side. So on this side we've got some chairs as well. And the same access to what I'm assuming is the main kitchen of this ship. Sort of. It's a flying restaurant. Then at the front over here we've got the core access and some computer access as well, with lots and lots of buttons and lights and things to push, and I'm not sure what all the logic does, but we'll check that out in a sec. Bathroom, I think that's about it, because there's not a lot of interior going on. Yeah, that's mainly it, I think. The bottom doesn't have a whole lot, but it does have the hover thrusters. So yeah, it's basically something you could just fly to a planet or a space station with gravity, and then just go there and park it on the spot to sell your ramen. I'm quite curious if there is some logic we can press. Activation module for what? There is nothing. I mean, there is something here for rail logic, but I'm not sure what it does. Okay, so this moves this part up. Basically access to... Ah, okay, it's access to here. So it's basically the direct access to the cockpit if you're not going through the kitchen. So this moves it down, most likely. Yeah, it does. This is the same. Yeah, it does the same. So it's basically something you could probably improve by just adding some instructions what does what, because yeah, it's not always that clear, because we've got some things going on in here as well. Open close neon lights. Okay, open close what? Ah, okay, this is basically opening and closing the ramen stall itself. And then the neon lights is probably the part up top. Not sure what it turned on or off, but at least something, I think. Probably lights, yeah, around here, by the looks of it. Okay, so there is some functionality over here. So let's open up the stall again, because this is the main feature of the ship itself. But like I said, ship with quotation marks, because it might be able to fly, but I wouldn't really call this a racing ship. Basically suffers the same problem as the other entry that was not really classified as a racing ship, because it is first most, I think, a ramen restaurant instead of a racing ship. Although I do dig the idea of having a ramen restaurant entering in a space race. Last but not least, the Mara A Alta, if I pronounce that correctly. This is a nice little red racing ship with lots of engines at the back and lots of armor panels to, I hope, protect the main ship itself, and lots of detailing going on within the sections between the armor panels and the main hull of the ship. If you got some detailing over here with these I'm not sure if they're guns or perhaps tractor beams. Could check that out in a bit. But yeah, I quite like this space between the armor panels and the main hull. It's detailing that you only see if you get close to the ship itself, because the armor panels themselves are yeah, quite simple, but not necessarily a bad thing, because it contrasts nicely with all the high detail that's basically hidden behind it. It's a contrast, like I said, that I quite like, how that was pulled off. Then in the back we've got this big engine, and then we've got two smaller engines that are connected on the top. So it's basically mirrored on both sides. And I don't think this is mirrored. No, it's not. So this does have some asymmetry. So there's this bit over here, some sort of tank that has a couple of pipes connecting to the rest. Yeah, on this side. Some sort of intake. Not sure. Isn't an engine itself. But it's not over here, so yeah, like I said, there is just a bit of asymmetry going on. I didn't notice that before. Quite like that. But I'm not sure exactly where the entry of the ship... Ah, there it is. There is the entry of the ship. So this is a non-standard airlock size by the looks of it, and it's orientated differently as well. So this is the second ship that has a different orientation that we normally see with ships. So let's check out how that is done. So here we are at the bottom of the ship. So this is our, well, not sure if it's an airlock or not, because I can look all the way in the back. So basically we need to grab some gravity over here. Now we are orientated within the actual interior. But yeah, there's no doors, I think. No. Don't see any doors. So this is all hard vacuum over here. So we need the spacesuit. We've got some workstation over here. This is probably lights. Yeah, it is. Then over here we've got the main pilot seat. So this is your core access as well. And that's about it. So there's not a lot of interior going on. But also a problem is basically the core itself. If you enter it like this, and then you try to exit it, yeah, I'm stuck. How do I exit? I don't. So yeah, it's not really pilot friendly in that way. Let's check if we missed something as far as interior goes. I don't think there is enough space for more interior. It's all detailing over here. Like I said, I quite like how that was done, but doesn't really give you a lot of options for the interior itself. Yeah, it's just this basically hallway that's open to space. So at least put a door in it. That would be nice. But yeah, overall, nice little ship. A bit simple on the outside, but quite nice on the detailing on the inside parts of the main hull. So this should be it as far as all the entries are concerned for the build initiative. I don't think I missed any. If I did, let me know. Then I'll make up for it. But I don't think I did. I just went through the build initiative thread itself and then just downloaded every entry that was entered correctly. So if there is some uploads that are racing ships, they were probably not entered in the thread itself. So that's probably why they're not here. But yeah, overall, quite a nice lineup. It will be difficult for the judges, I think, to pick a top 5. Because there are quite a lot of them that are yeah, very unique in their own way. So good job to all the builders, and I'll see you next time.